In the name of Jesus, amen. The text for our consideration this morning, all three lessons, but especially these words of gospel from the letter to the Hebrews. Since therefore the children share flesh and blood, he himself likewise shared the same things, so that through death he might destroy the one who had the power of death, that is the devil, and free those who all their lives were held in slavery by fear of death. So far the reading. So are we in a good place in 2020 in the United States of America, in Southern California, Rancho Palos Verdes this morning, or where I live in Irvine? Is this a good place and a good time to live? There's safety, there's prosperity, there's comforts of most kinds, there's liberty, freedom to do with our lives and our things as we please. And spiritually, to be between Christmas and Easter seems like the very best of places anyone could ever hope for. And yet, we suspect that the lesson for the Hebrews is not something that belongs to the past. That was then, in 1st century AD, but this is now. Slavery, 150 or more years behind us. No one's in bondage anymore. Or are we? So, what are we afraid of? Just think for a moment, what are you afraid of? And if you say, well, I'm not afraid of anything, well, think a minute yet. What are you afraid of? So for some of us, it's still the dark. For some of us, it's still what somebody's going to serve us to eat that we might not recognize or we might not think we like. But if we go a little deeper, those things that make you worried, those things that make you anxious or stressed. We live in a culture today, for all of the goodness that surrounds us, we live in a culture that seems to be consumed with anxiety and stress and worries and all of that symptoms of fear, afraid of losing our things. We're losing our ability to use or control our things, afraid of losing our comforts, afraid of losing the people that I want in my life, that contribute to my life. So here we are, all our lifetime subject to bondage because of fear of death, whether it's my own death or the death of people around me, or death as in things might as well be because they're not in my control anymore. They're not contributing to my life, so that means death. So then we need to rethink maybe what we mean by mine. My things, my life, my friends, my family, my loved ones, mine. I had a little start to thinking about that with the children this morning. I hope that the wheels are still turning. Can we really call something mine if it's not mine to keep? If I can't rest in the sense that what's mine is mine, has been and will always be mine, and no one can take that away from me, then what does mine really mean? Except for kind of a nervous assertion of a will that we're not really actually in control of. And I want you to contrast that idea. What's mine, what I make mine or call mine, with God's idea of what's given, what he gives to us. Is a beautiful psalm that was sung for us by the cantor this morning, because it says how lovely, over and over again, how lovely is your dwelling place. All those who dwell in your house are blessed. Dwell in your house, because in God's house all things are his, and we are children and stewards, and no one and nothing can take away what is God's. And so if we're God's children and we're in God's house, then we can come to rest again, which is what the letter to the Hebrews is promising. So it says to us that Jesus came to release those who all their lives were held in slavery by fear of death. How's he going to do it? Through death. He would destroy the one who had the power of death. Whose death? And this is where Paul talks about the foolishness of the cross and the weakness of God is stronger than men. Our idea of someone strong putting to death the fear of death would mean that's the death of everyone else. That's what power and strength and might mean. Then you can call something yours. This is mine. And no one can take it away from me. But that's not how it worked. He flipped it upside down. Only one would die. He would take away the fear of death by actually dying himself. Wow. How does that work? I think most people don't think about it because it's so contrary to our thinking. It doesn't fit in the way we approach our lives. And so let's suggest maybe our way and see if it wouldn't work. Would we stop being afraid? Would we stop worrying if God always gave us what we wanted? Just want it and it's yours. That would work, wouldn't it? Then you'd never be afraid anymore, would you? As soon as I want it, it's mine. I like out there some of you right now, I wouldn't want it. Because we know people in the world who live that life, don't we? There are people in the world who as soon as they want it, it's theirs. They just say it and someone gives it to them. And we know from experience that those people are not happy. They're worried too. They're worried, actually, interestingly, because what if ever the time comes when that won't be the case? I mean, it's nice now, but what if it's not the case? And then there's a deeper kind of but it doesn't seem to be working. I don't seem to be happy, even though everything I want, as soon as I want it, is mine. Maybe waiting is the key. Maybe if you have to wait for a while and then it's given to you, you learn to stop worrying about it. Right? You learn to be a little more grateful for it when it comes to you. Maybe even thinking a little more about the one who gave it to you than the thing given. But then doesn't that leave us wondering, what if it's too late? Think about Anna in the temple. 7 years with her husband, from her virginity, no children. And then her husband dies. 84 more years, no other husband, no children. That's time enough to give up, isn't it? 84 plus 7, 91 plus however old she was when she was married. Wilbur, she's in your neighborhood. No children. So I think the lesson is sometimes God will just leave you waiting and it never comes. Or like many people who said to Jesus in the Gospels in a hurry, come because my daughter is ill or my servant is ill. They're approaching death. Hurry, Jesus, Jairus. Hurry, Jesus, before it's too late. And then messengers come from your house and say, why bother the master any longer? Your daughter's dead. But then you have these little glimpses of, wait a minute, don't give up. Like Anna, don't give up. But it's too late. No, it's not actually. It's not too late. Lazarus, 4 days in the tomb. Mary and Martha both. Mary and Martha both. Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. No. You're giving up too soon. It's precisely when you think it's too late that God begins to teach us something. But what about the third option? God, let me be in control. Then we wouldn't have to worry about it, right? If you're the one in control of what you get and what you have and whether you can keep it or not, if you have the power to surround yourself with large property, with fences, with security cameras and gates, and even maybe you have the money to provide for security people, now you have not only what's yours, but the power to defend and protect what's yours. Yes? Or would you still be fearful? Would you still be worried? So we don't have the kind of God who kind of gives us things, sort of, but leaves you with all of these questions that produce fear, that produce worries and anxieties and all the rest. God is the kind of God that gives us a new mind and a new heart, the mind of Christ, the heart of Christ, regenerated in the image of our Savior. And so we see things differently. Like Hannah. She didn't give up, did she? She did not give up. But ridiculed by the other wife of her husband who had children, she hangs in there and she keeps waiting and she keeps thinking about things, and then she has this idea. If God gave me a child, young or old, it wouldn't actually ever be mine, would it? I think I've learned that much. I can't make a child. That's God's work, and that's God's child. So I'm going to commit myself to that notion, to that faith, by promising to give the child back. Interesting idea, isn't it? Better to have loved and lost. Is that Shakespeare or somebody important? Than never to have loved at all. Was Hannah thinking, I'd rather at least have had once in my life the opportunity to carry a child through pregnancy, and then to deliver a child and to hold and raise that child, and then to give that child back to whom it belongs, knowing that the child still is something to me. That's still my sort of child. And over her lifetime to know and hear about and watch Samuel, Shamael, God hears. And to have 2 books written about the history of that prophet and priest in the history of Israel, she played a part in that. No, there's no such thing as waiting too long for God. And then God comes from the other direction. There's another woman in our text. There's Anna, there's Hannah, Mary. She wasn't waiting at all. She was engaged. She was on a good path here, and then God interrupts. What about when God interrupts what you're doing and says you're going to have a child now? Well, how's that work? How does this be? How can this be since I do not know a man? And she's asking, she's wondering about the timing. So she has a man, but she has not known the man first. Should Mary hurry and text Joseph? The angel is just here. Come on over as fast as you can. No. The angel says, no, not like that. God is going to fulfill all of his promises. How long have people been waiting on those promises of God? Well, conservatively speaking, from Adam to Mary, 6, 7, 8,000 years. That's a long time to wait. Yeah, but his word is always fulfilled. So here it comes. The virgin will conceive and bear a son. You will call his name Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins. There you go. And then in the gospel lesson this morning, you see Mary doing something akin to what Hannah did. Something akin to what all of you do. Is she's bringing this child back to whom it belongs. And she's making an exchange. That's what the law provided for. Okay, you can exchange a turtle dove, pigeon, lamb, goat, whatever your finances allow. You can exchange that and keep your child. And Mary and Joseph sort of get to keep Jesus, but not, because he's forever going to be given to, returned to the Lord God from whom he came. This is actually God's son, even though it's Mary's. And what is Jesus going to show us in the course of his life? He's going to show us that you don't get to keep what you call your own by holding more tightly to it, like the egg. It's either empty then when you need it most, or it makes a mess. Either way, there's no way forward there. You get to keep things by giving them away. Isn't that interesting? God's economy. The more you give away, the more you keep it. What is less? What is something like that? It would be love, would it not? And is it not love that breaks all the bonds asunder? When Paul was in chains in prison, he wrote to Timothy, but the word of God is not chained. And he wrote to the Philippians while he was in chains, you know what? This is actually working out. Because people are watching. And they don't understand. How can Paul be wrongly, innocently imprisoned and bound in chains, and that hurts, and beaten, and be so happy about it? I don't understand that. And in prison, Paul has an audience that he would never have otherwise. The whole Praetorian Guard. These are the emperor's most elite troops. These are the ninjas, these are the Navy SEALs of history, and these people are watching and listening to Paul. And he's changing their minds. Yeah, that's God's economy. So can it be right that Jesus, for 3.5 years in public ministry, is forever giving himself away? No time to sleep, no time to eat for himself, no time to rest, nowhere to lay his head, always ever giving himself away, even to people who have no use for him. He never came back and said thank you, exhausting himself, giving people health while he assumes in himself their illnesses, casting out demons, raising the dead while he assumes in himself their death, relieving people from guilt and from condemnation and judgment of those who would have executed them for their sins. And then in his crucifixion, there's where you see his power most. How can he do it? A sword was piercing Mary's own heart this time in the life of Jesus. She doesn't get it either. She's feeling like this is lost, never to be retrieved again. It was hard enough to watch him during his 3 years of ministry, 3.5, but now this is impossible. How can he do it? Because he knows this thing we're talking about this morning, that his life actually belongs to his Father, and that you can never take away from someone something that God gives. Do you know the rest of Hannah's story? How could she do it? How could she give back to God this one and only son that he should have waited so longingly and desperately for? Read on in the story. After she returns home from leaving Samuel at the temple, God blesses her with 5 more children. And in the Bible, blessings tend to come in 5s. Abraham had one son by Hagar, no good. One son by Sarah, okay, here we go, this is Isaac. And then if you read on, 5 more by Keturah. Isaac waiting, Rebekah can't conceive. Oh yeah, then she conceived not one son, twins. And from one of those twins, powerful nation in history. Jacob by Rachel can't have children. How about 13? We used a couple extra wives in there, but still 13. Job, all at once, in one moment, his 7 sons and 3 daughters wiped out, and everything, all of his vast wealth and property wiped out. And he sits in ashes, scraping himself because of the pain of the boils he's afflicted with. Naked I came from my mother's womb, naked I'll return. The Lord has taken away only what was his to begin with. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And then when you keep, if you're willing to keep reading at the end, and so God restored to Job more than he had in the beginning. And here they come, 7 sons and 3 more daughters. This is God's economy. He delivers us from what holds us in bondage to fear all our lives. Fear of what? Fear of death, fear of negative relationships, fear of someone taking away what I think my life depends on. But no one can take away God. No one can take away the incarnation of his Son. Christmas, here we are between Christmas and Easter. No one can take away what the Son of God accomplished in redeeming us or his resurrection from the dead. It's a kind of a nice place to start when you catch yourself in fear, worry, anxiety, stress, or catch someone else, and just pause them and say, just a minute, I have a question. Did Jesus rise from the dead or didn't he? Well, yes, he did. Well, if you have a resurrection from the dead, you got everything. And we see that over and over and over again through all the witness in history, and I think if we care to look in our own lives, God doesn't give things only to take them away again. God doesn't give us things so that our lives will be consumed with fear and anxiety about what if they're not mine? God gives us things, and then he moves them around to make sure that our confidence is in him, that our life and what we love is the giver, not the gift. Don't make that mistake. To love the gift and not the giver. If you have the giver, then you have everything. And Jesus makes that so evident through his incarnation and his life and his resurrection from the dead and his promises that are captured in the Bible, that are there for us, that come along with us to answer those impossible questions. But is there hope for me? I seem to be the same person. I actually seem to be a worse person as time goes on. Yeah. Go back to those promises of God, that inside of you he has made a new person, a new soul. He's confirmed that in your baptism. He's going to confirm it again right now. You didn't bring this wine and bread. You didn't prepare it on the table. You're not going to give it to yourself. God did all those things, and he'll do it again and again and again. And there would never be a time when you would ask God to confirm for you, to take away your fears and anxieties by confirming again to you his words and promises in life, and commune you anytime, day or night. You have a pastor coming and he'll do that. He might be upset with me that I said he would in the middle of the night come and give you communion, but that's okay. He understood that when he accepted the call. This is the life that God gives us, and that is something to celebrate. That's an epiphany for Jesus' sake.